And we're back with another episode of the Wrestling Roundtable podcast, where we're 2 days as we record this before Saturday night's main event, and we got some stuff to talk about. We got some stuff in the news this week. As always, I'm Ryan. Got my guy Dominique LaRue joining us as always. And Dom, do you remember not that long ago when this guy named Brock Lesnar left his boots and his gloves in the ring after getting bodied by Oba Femi at WrestleMania? Do you remember that? I mean, I know it's a long time ago, and like the memory may be a little fuzzy right now, but do you remember that happening?
I remember it like it was yesterday, actually. It was what, like
Right,
almost a month ago?
right. It's only been a month. Wow,
Yeah, that's and didn't Brock do like didn't he do the X?
he
Like, you know,
did. He did.
that means it was like for real, for real.
Or so we thought.
So we thought,
Or
yes.
so we thought. I can't help but think we got worked big time on that because on Monday Night Raw, Oba Femi was doing his Oba Femi Open Challenge. And guess who answered the challenge? Mr. Lesnar.
Mr. Ripped Pants Lizard at that.
I mean, seriously, what? Just quit buying your pants. Quit buying your pants at Amazon, man. Come on, stop with the Amazon jeans, man.
Or the Levi jeans.
Oh my God. I mean, I think we've seen that. We have seen that man's boxers twice in the past few months.
I, I seriously believe he need to just wear like Roman and get some jogger pants or
Yeah.
something loose that can, take all that friction and movement he does when he
Yeah.
runs, pick people up.
Yeah, yeah, totally. Or also keep him from falling on his butt when he does his entrance too.
No, those them boots. Them boots
Yeah,
got him.
yeah, no, yeah. It's the boots in a wet spot in the ground. But be that as it may, just a crazy spot this past Monday night when Oba Femi got left beat up, and I can't help but wonder what's next with that. Because I know that because I know that they're doing something at Clash at the next pay-per-view in Italy in a couple of weeks. Clash at Italy.
It will be because I'm already gonna call it. Obviously, Open Femi got one on Brock, so then obviously Brock is going to get his get back,
Hmm.
and then we'll have a rubber match. It'll be 1-1. So the only way to really finish it will be at SummerSlam, and I believe it's going to be in a stipulation match. Now, do I know what stipulation it will be? Probably not, but I do know it's a good fitting uh ride into the sunset if Brock was to choose to end his career where his wrestling career started.
Indeed, indeed, where he first became a star at the University of Minnesota, um, where he's from, right in his backyard. Um, I feel like that's the logical storyline. I feel like that's the logical storyline. However, did they try to shoehorn Gunther into a retirement match angle somehow? Now, I know you asked me, I know we spoke about that a little bit before, in our pre-show meeting, but um and your first question to me was, does Gunther have the title? And honestly, I don't think it matters at that point. But at the same time, I think the money is in Brock and Oba Femi because of what we saw just on their WrestleMania build.
Absolutely.
Just how physical that build was. I mean, the match was kind of meh, but just how physical the build was.
Two things. All right. First, I can't believe you even associated logic with anything TKO does.
Look,
That's one.
look. I'm a professional writer. I try to use these kind of things unironically.
Right. Two,
Touche, though. Touche.
um, two, I do appreciate you pointing out the fact that, they are putting money into Oba and Brock because if you remember Monday night, Paul Heyman even told Adam Pearce, he said one of the, what did he say? I think he said the greatest rematch of all time.
Yeah.
So they're putting their money where their mouth is by focusing on these two gentlemen. And I mean, let's face it, Oba's over like over. He's over the moon.
Hmm.
And at the end of the day, Brock is who he is. Brock is Brock. When that music hits, everybody gets hyped. Uh this is I mean, besides Gunther, this is the only person like we want to see wrestle Brock. I mean, we've had the Brock versus Roman. We've had Cody versus Brock. I mean, the only person we haven't really actually had in my recent memory. I mean, I'm pretty sure they probably have wrestled, but like CM Punk and Brock, but nobody wants to see that because I mean, CM Punk is damn near over. I mean, he's over his 40s. So
Yeah, no, see him, Punk and Brock are way too close in age.
yeah.
Um,
So and then John is retired, and obviously Brock is not working with anybody else younger
yeah.
because I mean, Brock only has a few more good matches in him till he just calls it quits. So like we got all these fan theories of like Brock maybe, you know, going all the way to WrestleMania 43, but I quite honestly I don't see it. I don't see 43. I see 2026 in Minnesota at SummerSlam.
Which is kind of where when Brock Lesnar came back last summer, that's kind of what it was pointing to from the jump was that he was gonna hang it up at in his backyard at SummerSlam because that was also right around the time when SummerSlam 2026 was announced for Minneapolis.
Hmm. And I mean, I know this ain't got no association with each other, but if, we want to be perfectly honest, all the greats are retiring around this time. We got AJ Styles retiring, we got John Cena retiring. I mean, Randy can say all they want, and I mean Randy does look in a hell of a lot of shape. Like he looks way better than he's ever had. But eventually, he's going to look on that tail end of his career and decide to call it quits. Brock is right there too. So
Yeah. Yeah, and honestly, I feel like Randy may talk all he wants to on social media, but I can't I can't help but wonder if his back is, if his back is just cooked.
question. Speaking of Randy,
Yeah,
we haven't seen him since WrestleMania, right?
correct.
Um, we're going to get 15. I already know it. I got a good feeling in my bones that we're getting 15. Now, in order to get 15, uh, do you see Randy interfering in that match with Gunther and Cody at Clash in Italy?
Oh, I like where your head's at on that. I think it's possible. I definitely think it's possible because not only does it open that Cody Rhodes angle back up, but it also opens up possibilities with Gunther as well.
Yep,
Because you know Gunther's going to be pissed that he cost him that title or
yep,
an opportunity at that title.
yep. And they do have history. They do have heat. I
They
mean,
do, yeah.
Gunther cheated. Did he cheat? I think he did cheat to win King of the Ring. So they still got beef with that. And then, and like I told you in the meeting though, I said I don't like the fact that they gave Gunther this career killer persona because it puts him in that box of whoever he wrestles, quote unquote, towards their retirement years, that he's going to end their career. And it's like, I don't want to see him wrestle like all the nostalgia wrestlers and like, oh man, that this is when they retire. Because I mean, some of them, like, say, okay, no disrespect to the Miz, but like, say he wrestled the Miz, right? Oh, is the Miz retiring? I mean, the Miz can go for another 5 years if he wanted to because he's
Yeah,
not, he's not that type of guy that puts a lot of force on his body like that. And then like R-Truth or the list goes on and on. Whoever in that attitude era, you know, well not attitude era, excuse me, ruthless aggressions era, he's gonna put
right.
them in retirement.
Right. I
Him and
mean,
him and CM Punk face off again. Is CM Punk gonna
yeah.
get retired? Because obviously CM Punk is definitely going after that undisputed title. It's just who is going to have that title by the time they even put CM Punk in the picture.
Yeah. I would actually like to see that happen. I would actually like to see Gunther and Randy interfere in that Gunther Cody Rhodes match. And just for the record, just let me be 100% clear here. Both Dom and I are Team Gunther here. We're both big fans of the guy.
Absolutely.
Like I had a running joke in our group that I kind of still have the running joke in our wrestling group was like, it's like my distant cousin Arsenio once said on coming to America, his mama called him Walter. I'm gonna call him Walter. But we're both big fans of the guy. This is not this is not a slight against him, but giving him that career killer thing does kind of limit his opportunities, limit the different things that he can do without that kind of being around his neck. Like if he has a match with, CM Punk or Rey Mysterio or somebody like that are getting close to retirement age, is this a retirement match? Does it need to be built like a retirement match? Or can this just be a match, you know?
Yeah, can I just get a match? Like, eventually we'll get to that bridge and cross it, but I don't
Right.
want him to have a match against Rey Mysterio and be like, oh, here we go. This is the match. Is Rey Mysterio gonna retire? And then Rey comes back and he's feuding with Dom. Like, I don't want that. I would just
No.
want a 5-star match that Gunther gives us, and that's it. And quite frankly, I'm glad that you brought this up. Like with Randy interfering, with potentially CM Punk getting involved, I could see this 4-way match forming between like Cody, CM Punk, Randy, and Gunther. Like you got enough meat on this plate where not only we're going to eat from Clash Clash of Italy to SummerSlam, but potentially we can go all the way to WrestleMania if you wanted to, or at least Royal Rumble with just these 4 guys. And like I'm so glad that now it's starting to pick up as far as like SmackDown with that title because at one point you and I was like, when is they ever gonna take it off for Cody? Because like this is getting ridiculous. But now we're sitting here planning things out. Now we're sitting here like, okay, this person, and then like to me, honestly, why stop at 15 with Randy? Why not give us 15, 16, 17, and potentially 18? Like
Right.
I think Randy should get 18 and retire with 18 But like, I really want that moment where Randy wins 18 and John Cena comes out and shakes his hand. John said he wants to be the guy to give that handshake to 18. And what is more fitting than the guy that never left? The guy that really just went
Yes.
through hell and back and had a huge character development and became the father figure and the mentor and the person that you would have never thought he would be back 20 years ago.
Right.
Like he was this hothead, irresponsible, just like, I mean, stories out there, like he almost got fired. Like the only reason I
Yeah.
didn't get
No.
fired because he's Orton. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but like,
And his old man pulled some strings.
and pull some strings, yeah. So like, think about this. I mean, that's a book, that's a movie being made. That's like everything you can think of Randy going through all this, and then he's right at 15. He gets 15, and he gets 16. And then, oh man, are we getting to 17? Then he ties with John. Even if he just ties with John or get 18, I would be happy because two of the greatest superstars of all time, one of the greatest rivalries of all time. Or I mean, two goats in that era are right there at top. Two WWE goats are right
Right.
there. Vince McMahon could I don't want to say it, but Vince McMahon could croak over and be happy because like his guys carry that record. You got John Cena carrying the record, obviously, but then like to have Randy be there too, that'd be dope. Or break it, to be honest.
Yeah. No. Who he have enough miles left on the tank though? Does he have enough miles left on his body? That's the question that I have.
I mean, think about this. We'll go back in time and think about the old era. It was guys losing the belt Monday night and winning at the pay-per-view. So I mean, like it don't really take much to get what well, he's at 14. It don't really take much to get four more championship wins. It's just once again that L word that is associated. Well, we try to associate it with TKO, but I mean, obviously, it's not going to be associated with TKO because they don't know what that word is. You got the Judgment Day
We're talking about
walking
logic, but
around.
yeah, you're right.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh
We got
well,
the
God, here
Judgment
we
Day
go. Here we
still.
go.
I
All
just
right,
got
here
to
we
throw it
go.
out there.
You got 2 minutes to crash out about Judgment Day.
I'm gonna do it 30 seconds. You got the Judgment Day still walking around here. I'm just saying I mean, that's all. That's all I got to say. So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah. No. All right. Agreed. Agreed. Um. Yeah. Logic is not allowed in that building down the street, which they'd make a hell of a lot more money if it was a little bit more logical.
Bukus.
Yeah. Speaking of more money. We got to talk about these absolutely ridiculous comments that Nick Khan and Triple H made about bringing back house shows.
Mostly Nick Khan. Mostly
Well,
Nick.
yeah, yeah, mostly Nick Khan. But I have to admit, I am disappointed in Triple H. But you know, like how long have you and I been railing against this? Like, how long have you and I been going on about this? About they need to bring back house shows, not just for the, not just for the lower ticket prices, but for these guys, we're not gonna abuse their bodies like like we did back in the 80s and 90s. We're not gonna do that. But at the same time, you know, I'll give you a great example, right? Who was one of the biggest musical artists of all time? Bruce Springsteen. He's pushing 80 years old and he's still selling out stadiums. But he didn't start playing in stadiums. Like his story's kind of on the front of my mind because I just started reading his book. but he didn't start playing in stadiums. He started playing in high school gyms and in dive bars, honing his craft, getting better, screwing up, making mistakes, and finding out what worked for him. That's the exact same thing. That is the exact same thing that that untelevised house shows give to professional wrestlers. These are guys who can go out there and experiment. They can go out there and, see if a move set can work, see if a spot can work. If it doesn't work, okay, it's a low risk atmosphere. But if you're able to hit on something that can work, let's get it to work when the cameras are on, when there's 20,000 people in the stands. Instead of and we've seen it time and time and time again on TV over the past year. Moves that should have been come like second nature to these guys are getting fumbled. Are getting, I don't want to use the B word, but like they're getting messed up. When if they could have just honed their craft just a little bit in the house show circuit, you can try a spot, you know, if you're gonna do a loop with somebody, work them 3 or 4 times in a couple of weeks. You're gonna get comfortable with that guy until you go out on TV and you can anticipate each other's moves. You can anticipate each other's movements a lot better that way. And I just don't understand how Nick Khan could get away with making such a ridiculous statement. And for Triple H, a guy who came up when they were working 250, 300 nights a year, could just sit there and just let him talk out of the side of his neck like that. It just, I just, I don't get it. I don't want to get it. And start talking now because I'm about to go down. I'm about to crash out pretty hard about this.
I think now that I think about it, I think Triple H knew by him saying it where it was going to go with it. I think Triple H was in the mindset of you know that saying you can give somebody uh their own rope so they kind of like hang themselves with it, and it's kind of like Triple H
Hmm.
like, oh, you want to do house shows now? When I've been like literally telling you this, like I had a plan involved where the talent can have breaks in between, and we don't run them as hard as what I had to go through when I was a talent, but just to do away with house shows altogether. He probably was like, all right, I mean, because that's his boss. He got a boss above him, so he's just like, all
Right.
right, I ain't even finna fight you on it. But now, like with them coming out and saying that, maybe we need to bring house shows back and this and that, it's just like, I told you so, but I ain't gonna say it outright. And like you said, um, house shows are meant for stuff like that, for timing, for you know talent who maybe not featured on television as much, where they can get a little bit of rub and grease up the wheels a little bit. And then as you was talking, I was thinking about why just only the talent. Now you got the people that put the equipment together. They're getting their stuff together right. They're putting the ring like they need to, and the ropes, and
Yeah.
the refs getting their time in, and seeing things they may miss in the other show. And just everybody's being better. Everybody's growing better by doing house shows. And fans like you and I, some of the shows you can't make those live television shows, but these house shows you can make. I've made three in my lifetime, in recent lifetime. Like, I went to Tallahassee, I went to Pensacola, I went to the one in Montgomery, and I mean just the energy and just like being there and like seeing my daughter just get involved and like yeet and you know just Cody even was at a house show and he came out and did the oil and
Yeah,
my daughter did the oil with him and it's like I may not can't see a live show, but being in a house show is just like a live show. It's just not televised.
dude. Yeah.
And that was one of the greatest moments of my life. Just getting to see my daughter come up like I did. So
And you're totally right. And not to pry too much here, but I guarantee you that those tickets that you were able to get for that show, to be able to make those important memories as a dad, to be able to make those important memories with your kid, you didn't exactly have to dip into her college fund for that.
no, absolutely not. No, I would go to a house show quicker than I go to a live show. Trust me.
And yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. And just for somebody like me, living in the New York City area, um, they'll, WWE plays Madison Square Garden, they play Brooklyn, they play, sometimes they'll play Bridgeport for these live shows. Going to a show at Madison Square Garden is going to cost a fortune.
And we talk about nosebleed seats.
And we're talking about seats getting up there, hanging out with Gorilla Monsoon and Dusty Rhodes.
Patrick Ewing. No, I'm playing. He's still alive. I'm just
No,
kidding.
no, I know. But my point is that it's a lot like if they would like do like house shows. There's a place in White Plains, New York called I think it's called the Westchester County Civic Center. That could be a great place. And they've done shows there before. I haven't been able to make any yet, but they have done shows like that before. My point is that it gives a lot more people like me and you who may not be able to may not be able to take the time off of work, number one. Number two, not being able to afford a ticket to go see a Monday Night Raw or a SmackDown or a pay-per-view or even a Saturday night's main event. um, it gives us the opportunity to be able to make those core memories, to be able to go to one of these live events, and and I'm sure you just like being there with your daughter, being able to see her make those memories like that is something that a lot of families can relate to.
Yeah. And like you and I was talking about, behind the scenes, it don't have to be a lot of house shows. It don't. You could do at
No,
least two a month. Just kind of like work it to where, I mean, because even with a house show, you can still build towards what's going on television and
yeah,
to a pay per view. So why not have house shows for uh, it ain't even got to be like because the ones I went to before, like yeah, Cody, he showed his face. Like, yes, you want to have like a main eventer come and show his face and be involved, but like give some of these younger talents that aren't featured on TV a lot, give them the spot. Let them be household names within the wrestling communities, and then also like have maybe maybe Jay want to work. You let Jay come out,
yeah,
or even Trick. Trick still he's in that age range where he can go on the road a little bit more. I mean, him and his fiance. So like,
yeah.
give these guys Camelo Hayes. Like you don't show him on TV. Why not give him on the house show?
And also you could like figure out a way to like these guys down in developmental, down in NXT. You could figure out a way to, okay, we see potential in this one guy, right? Mason Rook. I mean, I know he's new. I know he's just, I know he just started. And
Yep.
there's a lot of conjecture online about this guy, which we're not going to go into. But, I mean, he's big, he's bad, he can body slam your dad. I get it. Um, but do we know, like, if he could work with, I don't know, you know, um, a Jey Uso, just throwing somebody out there. Do we know if he's got any kind of charisma, any kind of like chemistry with any of these guys? It may flop like a fish out of water, or it may be gold. You never know until you try it. You never know until you practice it, you know?
Yep. And I mean, like we've been talking about, you got to have these guys work on their timing because
Yeah.
without it, we're starting to see it more often on live TV. Like stuff is sloppy, stuff is mistimed, especially with the women. I mean, we make our jokes, we say things about women matches and this and that, but like at the end of the day, we love the women matches and we want them to be better. And I don't want their matches to be criticized when literally a few years ago the women matches were better than the men matches.
I mean, let's not forget a main eventing WrestleMania.
Exactly. So like, if anything, let's just work on the young talent. Let's build them up. If you're not gonna build them up on TV, let's build them up in live matches. I mean, house show matches. Excuse me.
Right. And just one more note about that before we move on. Speaking of Saturday night's main event, one more note before we move on about that. Yeah, I think you're probably right about kind of the, what we believe was the backstage of what happened with Tony Khan. Listen to me. I knew I was going to do that. Nick Khan and Triple H. Um, was like Triple H was like, I know you're my boss, but I tried to tell you, but you wouldn't listen. And this is kind of a chickens coming home to roost kind of situation.
Yep. Because I mean, I I'm not very accurate of when we talked about this, but I'm pretty sure we talked about house shows and we talked about like you need house shows to like build talent or to try different things out that you wouldn't do on live shows to see if it hits on house shows. And that's how you connect and that's how you see like, okay, yeah, maybe I should do this on the next. Okay, like, if you're kind of skeptic about maybe turning heel or you know Cody becoming a heel, try it on a house show. See how it goes. See what the crowd reacts to. Cody doing heelish things, and then it's just you and I talked about this, and ironically enough, when we was talking about this 2 days ago, was the infamous house show of all house shows, where Kevin Nash, Scott
Yeah,
Hall, Shawn Michaels, and Triple H, did an infamous hug after the match, and Scott Hall and Kevin Nash was leaving WWE. They
yeah.
peeled
The
the
curtain
curtain.
call.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that was a you don't do that in the business back then.
yeah. First of all, the fact that it was 30 years ago just makes me feel so old. But at the same time, um, that didn't happen on Monday Night Raw. That happened at a house show in Madison Square Garden. And yeah, yeah, and obviously that And to be fair, Triple H was scheduled to win King of the Ring that year, um, but he got his push taken away from him, and they went to an up and coming guy with a shaved head and a goatee that talked about Awesome 316, and the rest, as we say, is history.
History. Yep. All
Yeah,
that's the bottom
so
line.
yeah. What?
But see, like moments like that. Like, what if we never had a house show
Yeah,
for that to happen? Like, what if we never had a house show in general? Like, you wouldn't know some of this talent unless you watch television. So,
yeah, yeah. It's Nick Khan. Yeah, yeah. Before we move on, a job that I would not want at all with that company would be working in public relations because they're constantly having to put out fires.
like, left and right, it's not go. I mean, like, especially now living in the age and era of social media, it's more fires than you could ever imagine. Versus back then, when you just had the dirt sheet and just strictly television, and we had to actually dial numbers to call.
Right,
So,
right. Yeah, you had to dial Mean Gene Okerlund's 1-900 WCW or whatever that was. Yeah.
yeah, or I had to actually go to a payphone.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Well, speaking of, we've got a nice little Saturday night's main event coming up here this coming weekend. And I have to say, the one match, and I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, but the one match that I'm definitely looking forward to is seeing what happens between Logan Paul and Austin Theory versus the Street Profits. Um, like I feel like that match has potential to be an absolute banger, to be honest with you. And then also you've got Penta going up against Ethan Page for the Intercontinental Championship. That match also has, incredible potential. So I
Yep.
really think this could be, we might be surprised and disappointed, but I truly believe like this Saturday night's main event could be a really solid little show.
I think so too. And you already know my answer to that match. I'm hoping that Division lose because I'm tired of Logan Paul holding that tag team title belt the way he does. But with what's going on with the Street Profit, it kind of is concerning to me. Is because like um, my boy um, Montez is he's going through it with his brother, and I don't think it was shown on television, but I did see it on social media where Montez was looking at uh, Dawson and Dawkins,
Dawkins.
and he was giving him the mean eye. Like, I told you not to come out here. I told you not to interfere. I told you not to help Seth Rollins, and you didn't listen. So could it be as our brother in the wrestling group Jeremy likes to call, could it be a Harlem Heat, excuse me, Harlem Night, Harlem Heat situation? Could we see Dawkins get Stevie Ray? So
Oh boy. That scares me because he's too damn talented for that. I mean,
yeah,
honestly, so was Stevie Ray for that matter, but he's just way too talented for that.
yeah. I mean, could they split and Montez go to Raw and, and Dawkins go to SmackDown, or vice versa? Vice versa. Um, I can see that, but like, why now? After all those years, we've been saying like Montez
Yeah.
should be a singles competitor. You need to give him his push. There's plenty of opportunities to do that, but you don't pull the trigger. Now with everything going on right now, and all these new talents coming in, and you got the Tricks and the Camelo and this, that, and the third. Now you want to move Montez to a singles competitor potentially. I, you know, and but yet
Yeah, and
you want to do that, but you don't want to eliminate Judgment Day. I'm sorry,
when
just
Judgment
don't do that.
Day, I mean, you've just been beating the dead horse for for years on Judgment Day.
For years, for
Yeah,
years, like you kick
and,
a member
and that
out,
horse developed rigor mortis a long time ago.
you kick Finn out, and then you just beating the dead horse of him fighting Dom and JD over and over and over. And I thought after WrestleMania, this feud was supposed to be over with.
And how many matches has Liv Morgan had since the Raw after WrestleMania?
Zero. Oh, excuse me. I
Exactly.
take it back. I take it back. I take it back. Fat check. She had one match, one, and that was with Sol Ruka, and it wasn't even for the title. It was just a match.
Yeah, yeah,
How many times has she been featured in a rivalry with somebody to potentially maybe get the bet off her? None. How many feuds
yeah.
have Becky had? More than zero. She's she got a match at Saturday Night Main Event against Sol
Yeah,
Ruka.
exactly.
That was potentially an Intercontinental title match, but they took it off and just made it a basic match. Why? I don't. I'm not going to go down that road with that. But at the same time, at least it's a match. At least it's a push
Yeah.
for Sol Ruka to potentially maybe get the belt off of Becky. But who does Liv have a rivalry with? Maybe potentially. Stephanie's hurt. Um, they gave us a little bit of a nugget of maybe Raquel potentially turning on her, but yet you put her and Roxanne in a rivalry for the tag team women's titles. How many times are we gonna see them be? Last time I checked, wasn't Liv a tag champion with Raquel, right?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
So why Liv can't be ain't her and Raquel best friends? Like, and they supposed to be
Yeah,
like
yeah.
close,
I know.
but
I know. And
pushed to the side.
but
I don't.
but I'll echo something that you said to me earlier in this podcast. Why are we trying to apply logic to this?
And that just proves my point of why
Yeah.
the Judgment Day is still roaming around.
Yeah. Yeah. They just won't die. But I think it's gonna be an interesting show. And one more note before we wrap up here. Got an interesting match that got signed for Clash at Italy. We're going to do a tribal combat between Jacob Fatu and Roman Reigns, where the winner must acknowledge them as their tribal chief. And we definitely, we can certainly speculate on this, but just kind of your initial thoughts. I really feel like Jacob Fatu is like an assassin type character in the bloodline could be really good. Just like somebody that can just fly off the handle at any moment, and can just be like the Luca Brasi of the group, so to speak.
Yeah, I feel you. I definitely agree with you on that. Um, and to throw a stat out there, though it hasn't had a lot of matches. Tribal combat, we are officially what 3-0. Roman has
Yeah.
not lost a tribal combat match. To be honest, I don't want the streak to end. Quite frankly, I want Roman to retire being undefeated in these particular matches. Uh, it's just too soon for Jacob to beat Roman in any type of match, as far as like for the title. Um, And interesting enough, last Monday night, when all three of them ganged up on Jacob, the crowd booed. Like they booed
Like loud.
and loud. They was very, they let their feelings be known. And it only showed me that what they're doing right now, which hold on to something when I say this, they're doing something right with Jacob, and that is building his
Yeah.
character up to like he's unhinged, this, that, and third, whatever. But like it takes multiple people to beat Jacob, right? So it makes him look stronger while not making the other ones look weak. Like obviously we've been through this with the bloodline. They're going to gang up on you. But
Right.
with that being said, and with tribal combat being announced, I was like, okay, well, this is a surefire way to not only make Roman still look strong, but then also make Jacob look strong too. And then with him losing and acknowledging Roman as his tribal chief, he gets added to the bloodline, and that makes the bloodline even better than before.
Mm, I love it.
Because
And
you take Solo out of the picture. Solo was a quiet assassin that, he was basically the bullet in Roman's gun. But now, not only do you take that and flip it, it's like now you have Jacob involved, but Jacob is a unhinged werewolf. Like, yeah, yeah, Jay was that, hot headed, you know, right hand man, but this is like way beyond that. It's like you ain't even got to tell Jacob to go do something. He's going to do it on his own. So now that dynamic of, yeah, he acknowledged Roman as his tribal chief, but can Roman really keep him in check like that? And then are we going to get an infamous, callback to "I love you, Roman"? Probably not. But
I doubt it. Yeah.
but I mean, Jacob being added to the bloodline is definitely going to be interesting going into summer. And then, like I pointed out to you before the meeting, I love it, but at the same time, I hate what's going on because we got so many loose ends. We got so many like ties that need to be tied into a knot
Yeah.
because you got LA Knight walking around here talking about, oh, don't, I already had this conversation with y'all guys. Don't form the bloodline again. No, we're gonna be enemies again. And we was working together to take one enemy out, and they running around acting like y'all. And yet, that's the thing. Like the Vision is supposed to be the big bad of Raw, right?
Yeah.
But they feel like a secondary big bad to the actual big bad. Like that spot is still vacant. And the way it's going with the bloodline, I feel like they're going to take that spot back, right? So then now you got I mean, I don't know who listens to the show, but I know y'all like, oh, here we go again with the Marvel comparison. But like we basically having the Avengers assemble again. The big bad is the
Hmm.
bloodline, and then now you got who is going to fight against the bloodline. And my brother over there, he got the same idea as me. That stare down between Roman itself wasn't just a stare down. That is something leading to something. That is something like WWE is putting it on the wall, letting you look at it, see your reaction, and obviously the action was positive because everybody was like, "Oh, could we be getting them two back going at it?" And I mean, that's a SummerSlam match, WrestleMania match alone, just
Yeah.
them two.
No.
So,
Totally.
and then you got Seth running around, and LA Knight is telling him like, hey, you know, even though you started the Vision, you have a feud with the people that you created. So, even though we're enemies, we still have the same vision. Like you and I both were trying to take the Vision out. So then, hopefully soon, whenever the Vision is taken out, the true big bad is going to be the Bloodline. So who's going to join Seth in trying to take out the Bloodline? And then, not only that, how big is the bloodline going to be this time around? Because I don't think it's just going to be four guys. I think it's going to be six to maybe seven. Just throwing a wild number out there.
Well,
Six is fine, but seven is crazy.
yeah, yeah.
That is
I mean,
NWO all day again, all over
yeah,
again.
exactly. Like, yeah, yeah. Bloodline, bloodline wolf pack. I mean,
Right.
yeah, yeah. Because I mean, you've got some juice with Royce Keys talking to, apparently he's tight with Jacob. Talking with Solo. Um, you've got a lot of there's a lot of possibilities there, but there's also a lot of open loops that need to get closed, or at least they need to start getting closed as we get closer to SummerSlam.
Yeah. Or like you and I like love to say, they need to make sense.
Well, why would you want to do that?
Yeah, it's no fun. TKO.
Nah, nah,
They won't give us, any material we need to talk about on this show if they do be logic. So
yeah, yeah. Yeah, well, um, yeah, that should be quite interesting, and I'd love to see them start to put the balls in motion as we get towards Saturday night's main event on that.
yeah, because like I told you, I mean,
All right.
Saturday main event is obviously a glorified mini PLE, but it needs to start something. It needs to like start the gears, right? Then we get to Clash in Italy, and once we get to Clash in Italy,
Mhm.
that should definitely be the climax. That we should be up at top, seeing these different storylines being formed to like, oh, this is where we definitely going to get to SummerSlam, right?
Yeah,
Obviously, we're gonna have the Brock and Oba. Like Brock is going to win. That's 1-1. That's the rubber match. Jacob is going to acknowledge Roman. Okay, now we got the bloodline becoming a little stronger now. I mean, it's definitely going to shift Raw for sure. Like
yeah,
very, very much. Then okay, uh, obviously we haven't had confirmation on it, but ain't Seth and um Braun potentially gonna go at it again? Maybe it clash it in. I just know for a fact though, like they have to end. Like division has to end soon. I mean, I'm
yeah,
sorry. I mean, it was a good idea. It's just it just didn't work. I mean,
yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
at
I
first it
mean,
was going somewhere with it, but then the injury start, it just killed their momentum.
right, right. Yeah, the worst thing to happen to the Vision was Seth Rollins dislocating his shoulder.
Yes. Well, actually, the worst thing that could have happened to the Vision is if Seth fibbing his own injury to the point where he ended up getting injured. So Karma is the person that really took the Vision out.
Yeah. And we're not talking about Awesome Kong here. We're talking about karma.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So there is one more thing, and one more thing that I wanted to touch on briefly before we went home here. Some kind of some I don't want to say disturbing, but kind of sobering news that came out of a favorite of both of ours. The GOAT commentator of all wrestling commentators, Jim Ross, talking about him being under like monitored for possible Alzheimer's and dementia. I don't know if I don't. We didn't speak about this in the pre-show. It just kind of reminded me that I just wanted to touch on that. And I know Jim Ross is not a young man. He's been through a lot. But just on a personal note, I lost a grandfather to dementia, and that's just a not a very nice way to go out. So if that's indeed what's going on with with good old JR, hope he's surrounded by love, and know that there's that one of the coolest wrestling experiences I've ever had was going to Jim Ross's one-man show in New York City about 10 years ago. Listening to him just, go out there, kind of like Mick Foley did at his one-man show. Just go out there, no notes, just riffing for like 2 hours, talking about stories about Andre the Giant and Ric Flair and stuff like that. And it was just really, just to be in that same room with that was just, really, really incredible for me. And and if indeed that is the fate, then my heart certainly goes out to him and the people who love him.
Absolutely. Like my brother said here at Wrestling Roundtable, our thoughts and prayers are with him and his family. And I mean, Jim Ross is well beloved in the wrestling community. Like I
Yeah,
don't think there's nobody in the community that has any bad thing to say about Jim Ross, have ill will to Jim Ross. Like he literally made our childhood. And I thank him for that. And I love Jim Ross. And like I couldn't imagine any of the most iconic moments happening without hearing his voice commentate. And
absolutely.
never heard a man hate Triple H as much as I heard him. I've never heard a man like made me feel like somebody was seriously, seriously injured than him. And then also with all that, like the soothing and like stern voice he had when something serious happened, like Owen
Right.
Hart's tragic
Owen,
accident,
yeah,
and just anything that yeah anything tragic that happened. It's just like his voice was it was serious, obviously, but it wasn't like deafening. It was more of like a calm, like he
yeah,
put your hand on your shoulder and was like, "Look, this is bad news, and like this is tragic, but you know we're gonna get through this together." And
absolutely.
one thing about Jim Ross that I love very much, and I can't believe I'm even saying this, but he's the only person that I I could like see myself not repping Oklahoma, but like I have respect for Oklahoma Sooners because of Jim Ross. Obviously we both are Alabama fans,
Facts, no,
but
totally, yeah,
I rock a piece of my heart for Oklahoma because of Jim Ross. Now, if they play Alabama, I could
yeah,
care less
totally,
about Oklahoma, but I do got respect for
yeah,
them because of Jim Ross. I will listen to their theme
absolutely,
song
absolutely,
as a Jim Ross theme song, not their theme song, but I'm like, oh,
right,
Jim Ross coming out, like that. So
yeah, no, totally, totally. Well, hate to end on a bummer note like that, but just wanted to say that our hearts and prayers go out to Jim Ross, if indeed that's what that's what his fate is. Hope he's surrounded by love. So hate to end on a bummer like that, but that's kind of the way life is sometimes.
absolutely, absolutely,
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for listening to another great episode of the Wrestling Roundtable podcast. You can find us on the social media machine at Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Follow us on YouTube and Spotify and Apple Podcast. And join us again next week, or else Danhausen will curse you. For Dom, I'm Ryan. You've been listening to the Wrestling Roundtable. Until we eat again, take care and so long for now.